everybody, today we're going to learn how to grout a mosaic mirror. To start, we used a piece of plywood. It's cut from about 1/2 inch thickness. It's an 8x8. And what we did was we secured some hooks in the back so that you can hang your piece when it's finished with just a couple screws and a little piece of wire. To add to that, all of our mirror and glass is secured with weldbond glue. Bonds most anything. It's very good for gluing things to wood or glass or ceramic. We use these tools to cut our glass. It's a glass snipper. It almost acts like scissors. Make sure anytime you use that, you're using safety glasses. And in order to build our mirror, we took all of our different colored strips of glass, cut them into varying shapes. Right, see? Yeah. Thank you, Julia. And then we glued all these pieces down on the board. So you had a bunch of different colors to choose from. We took our mirror, we ended up gluing that in the center, and you build the mosaic around the outside, just like so. So the next part, after you've filled all that in, is you're going to grout the mirror. This is a little bag of sanded tile grout. That's what we're going to be using. The kind of grout that we use is usually polyblend. You can get it at any hardware store. And what we are going to be using to grout the piece, obviously we've got here our finished mirror. It's got all the pieces glued down. The glue is nice and dry. We're going to use rubber gloves, latex gloves, whatever you're comfortable with. One for each hand. You've got a little container for mixing, and we need some water. Obviously you can see we put some newspaper down. We're going to put our grout in that little container. And then next step after this, so we're going to show you how to mix it, which is the most important step. So for the mixing, this is very, very important. Go slow. We've got our gloves on. We're going to use that to mix by hand. And in our container, we have our grout, and we have a little, water bottle. We're going to add a teaspoon about at a time, just a splash, mix it in. Just a little splash, mix it in. What we're looking for is about a brownie batter consistency here. We don't want it to be too thick and dry because it won't spread very easily, but if you go too far and it's too wet, then you won't be able to go back from there. So far, we're just about there. Julia's mixing in all of our water here. And that looks just about done. So you can see it's a little bit thicker than cake batter, but not so thick that it's not spreadable. Just about a brownie, but don't eat it. It is not brownie mix, and it will not be very good for you. All right, so applying this grout, what we need to do, we've got our nice, perfectly mixed grout. Julia's gonna add it into all of these little cracks and crevices. Basically, you're coating the surface, and you'll see it as it goes down in. If you need a little bit more, you can see that you need to add a little bit more. And you're basically just trying to coat the whole piece. Don't worry about covering all of that mirror glass. It's going to be fine. The newspaper is going to block off most of it. It saves you from having to wipe down any more than is necessary. And there you go. We've got a nice surface coated with grout here. And our next step is going to be cleaning. So, in order to clean our mosaic, we need paper towels or any sort of old rag, anything that you don't mind throwing away when you're done. This size of a mosaic probably uses 1 or 2 paper towels at most. So Julia is just going to gently wipe off all of that excess. Once you finish wiping off the bulk of that grout, you're going to let it sit for a while, and what's going to happen is it's going to film over. So we're going to need another wipe down after about an hour. You can see there's a little bit of a thin film on each of the glass pieces. So one more paper towel. We're going to remove the newspaper covering the mirror. That was to protect it from scratches. And we're just going to gently wipe off all the excess. And this is almost to the finishing point here. If you have any points along the way that are a little bit difficult to get off, you can always go back in, grab a little bit of water and dampen your paper towel, and just give it a little extra rub, a little extra attention. You can also at any point, if the mirror becomes dusty or needs any cleaning up, you can use a damp paper towel, even a little bit of Windex if your mirror's a little dirty. But here we are, we're nice and clean, and we can add a little bit more finishing details at this point if we'd like. A nice way to finish up your mirror is to paint the edges of that plywood with some acrylic paint. So this is just some cheap acrylic paint. You can get it at Michael's or Walmart and any like craft store. And just a paintbrush and a paper plate, and what we're going to do is just coat the edge of this wood so that it looks nice and finished. And we're using a medium blue to kind of offset it. We've got a dark blue and a light blue, so we figured we'd go a little in between there. And there we go. We've just about finished here. Painted it all around our outside edges. Very nice. Thank you, Julia. And there we go. You've just finished grouting your glass mosaic mirror, and it looks fantastic. If you have any questions or comments, please check out our website, SwellColors.com. Thanks for watching.